Whether new shooter, longtime gun owner, or even police officer or soldier, your handgun needs a Crimson Trace laser sight or light. Get the confidence and reliability you need to protect family, home, and country. Crimson Trace.
I'm a gun owner.
Your views, advice, and questions are the driving force of Gun Talk.
You know, I don't think that guns are scary things.
Visit us online at www.guntalk.com. Call Tom now at 866-TALK-GUN, 866-825-5486. Let us know what you think about the gun-related issues of the day. Now, back to Gun Talk.
All right, back with you, Tom Gresham here. 866-TALK-GUN will get you in here. We're talking about, of course, this tragic shooting up in Hayden, Idaho, where the toddler shot and killed his mother accidentally. I mean, truly. Gun was in the purse. Somehow he gets into the purse, unzips the compartment is what I'm reading now. Don't know if he pulled the trigger. Don't know if it hit on something. Don't know if he pulled the gun out. Don't know. Lots of things to think about there. And frankly, asking you, how did this, if it does, affect you in terms of how you handle your guns, store your guns, carry your guns, maybe do a review of your safety measures? Just food for thought here. We're going to have a guest in just a minute, but we do have a couple of callers I want to get on before that. Andy is in Shreveport, Louisiana on line 3. Andy, thank you for calling. You're on Gun Talk.
Hey, Tom. How's it going?
Good. What's up?
I had a question with regard to a 12-gauge rifled barrel. Now, okay. I use it as on an 870 pump for large game, but when I go bird hunting, I switch over to a smooth bore. Mm-hmm. I was just wondering if that's necessary. Do I need to switch over from the rifled barrel? Can I shoot birdshot through that rifle barrel without affecting accuracy or damaging the barrel?
All right, here's what's going to happen. When you shoot, certainly it's safe to shoot birdshot through your rifled barrel in your shotgun. When you do that, though, you're going to have this plastic wad that is liable to foul the barrel a little bit with plastic fouling, but no big deal. I mean, that's easy to remove. It will impart a spin to the shot cup, and that will probably give you a wider pattern, kind of like having a more open choke. It may reduce your range. It's, of course, unnecessary if you don't mind swapping barrels back and forth, which is frankly, what I would do. Then I would just do that. I'd use smoothbore for shotgunning, if wing shooting, and then I'd use the rifle barrel for shooting slugs. But, if you decide for whatever reason you want to shoot birdshot through your rifled barrel, it's not going to be an issue. I would probably go out and pattern it and find out how it affects the pattern, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I was planning on going out to the range and putting a couple through there to see how it affects the accuracy. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't, damaging the...
No, you're not. I mean, you're still shooting plastic wad and soft shot through there. You're not going to damage a steel barrel. It's going to be good. So that's about it. I appreciate the call, sir. Dave's on line 1. He's out of South Carolina. I believe that's South Carolina. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Tom.
How can I help you?
I just have a quick question. I have a Ruger M77 and a 25-06, and for years I've had or use a 50-millimeter objective lens scope. And I've recently removed that scope, and I'm doing my research. But I'm calling to ask, could you give me some insight on objective diameter in relation to accuracy? Now, everything I've been reading suggests the closer the scope is to the bore of the rifle, the more accurate. Is that true? No,
absolutely not. The objective lens or the height of the scope over the bore has absolutely nothing to do with accuracy, none whatsoever. However, there is a factor involved here. The higher you have to mount your scope above the bore, the more you're going to have to lift your head off the stock when you cheek the gun. Ideally, and this is the test, ideally what you want to do is pick your rifle up unloaded and close your eyes and put the rifle to your shoulder and cheek that stock, put your head down on the cheek piece, and then open your eye. If you're not looking through the scope, and with a 50-millimeter objective lens, chances are you're not because you had to go with high rings. You're probably looking underneath the scope. Then that means when you need to shoot in a hurry, you're going to have to pick your head up off the stock a little bit to find the shaft of light coming through the scope, and that will slow you down.
Okay. I have listened to some of your other episodes and caught like snippets of what you prefer in your rifle scope, because you're not so much sold on large objectives. I'm
not. I just, in most cases, I don't think they give you anything. I think large objectives tend to be, and some issues tend to be, marketing. However, when you go into higher magnifications, now you start to get into something called an exit pupil issue, and you get the magnification. You get into a bit of math here. If you have the magnification divided into the objective lens, so if it's a 50 millimeter objective lens and say it's a 5 power scope, you have a 10 millimeter exit pupil. It gets a little bit involved, but basically theoretically, you should get more light through a larger objective lens. And for those who don't know, the objective lens is the one that's closer to the target. The ocular lens is the one that's closer to your eye. But we find that not all 50 millimeter objective lenses are brighter than, say, 42 millimeter. If it's me, day in and day out, if I'm going to be shooting out to past 300 yards, I'll probably want a 3 to 9 variable. If I'm shooting inside of 300 yards, I'm probably going to get something like a 1 to 5, 1 to 4, 1.5 to 6 ballpark, something like that. And I'm going to get mounted as low as physically possible without the objective lens touching the barrel of the scope or the barrel of the rifle. And that's going to be my package. I want a scope that's mounted really low, and I'm going to keep it on low power all the time unless I see something out there at distance that I have to turn it up for. That's kind of where I am. Okay,
so 3 to 9 if it's 300 yards or more, and then 1 to 5, 1 to 6 if it's less than 300.
And I understand that is absolutely personal preference. If you say, but I want a 4.5 to 14, knock yourself out, go for it. Just understand that when you get to more power, it's a little bit more difficult to find things in the scope sometimes. And the truth of it is, you don't need 14 power to shoot a deer at 300 or 400 yards. I had a 1.5 to 5 on a sheep rifle and shot it at 350 yards at 5 power. No problem at all. All right, when we come back, we're going to be talking to Dave Workman about, looking at 2015. Where are we going? What's going on? What are the big stories? He is the preeminent gun journalist in the country, I believe. 866 Talk Gun. Be right back.
A great trigger can make you a better shooter. For over 60 years, Timney triggers have been trusted by hunters and shooters everywhere. Timney triggers are proudly made in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. Installation is easy. Give yourself the Timney Trigger advantage. To see more and order online, go to timneytriggers.com. That's TIMNEY triggers.com.
Gun Talk and Springfield Armory present Concealed Carry 2 with the Vata Group. Get serious about concealed carry. Take it to the next level with Concealed Carry 2, the highly anticipated DVD that teaches fighting from a vehicle, shooting from the ground, and the kind of drills that can save your life. Vata trainers don't just show how, but they explain why, and they make it real. Get Concealed Carry 2, because your life is on the line. Go to shopguntalk.com.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SigTac accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit sigsauer.com today.
Looking for shooting instruction but don't know where to go? Well, we have it, and you can access hours of training and safety videos, which you can watch on your home computer. On GunTalkTV.com, we have top competitive shooters, the best in self-defense trainers, and folks who have hunted all over the world, helping you learn which gun to buy, how to use it, how to store it safely, and everything else you need to be a safe and competent shooter.
We also have gun makers showing off their newest rifles, shotguns, and handguns. Doesn't matter if you're a veteran shooter or a complete beginner, you'll find what you need at guntalktv.com. You can check it out for free, and you can get full access for only $5.95 a month. That gives you unlimited access to hundreds of videos, and we're adding more all the time. Run the videos over and over to make sure you understand what's being said. Skip around. You're in control. Get smarter. Shoot better. Visit guntalktv.com.
Brownells proudly celebrates 75 years of history and heritage as the world's first choice for firearms, accessories, ammunition, and gunsmithing tools. So whether you're a gunsmith in need of parts and supplies, a new shooter looking for the perfect holster, or a skilled competitor seeking the latest gear, Brownells has what you need. And best of all, every purchase comes with the industry's only forever satisfaction guarantee. Visit us at brownells.com.
With you, 866 Talk Gun gets you into Gun Talk. I'm Tom Gresham. Don't forget to go to guntalk.com/win, WIN. Enter for a chance to win a Springfield Armory XD Mod 2 pistol, 40 caliber, 40 Smith & Wesson. It's the 3-inch barrel. It's in bitone, and also we're giving away stuff every week, so people are winning every week. If you're not involved in it, you don't have a chance to win. So go to guntalk.com/win. Dave Workman is, I think, the preeminent firearms journalist in the country and has been for some period of time. He joins us right now. Dave, Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year to you, Tom, and that's very kind of you to give me such an accolade. I don't know that I deserve it, or maybe you don't even want it, but...
Well, of course, the whole thing is there really is no one else doing it, so you get it, man. That's the way it is.
Well, it's very, Alan gets away.
That's what we call a backhanded compliment. You can only do that with your old friends.
Yeah, I'll see you in a couple of weeks and get even. So
I'll be watching my back, partner.
Yeah.
Question for you. As you look back on 2014, a lot of stories, of course, but just kind of as you take the world view, what's your general impression as it relates to guns, gun rights, and the efforts of the gun banners?
Well, as you know, because I know you're reading my Examiner column and the Gun Mag, I think the biggest story, biggest gun story of 2014 was the passage of Initiative 594 out here in Washington State, where I happen to live. We can go out and pound our chests and raise the flag and toast each other for a lot of political wins, getting some of the right people elected in office, putting in making sure the right governor got back into the state house, whatever you want to talk about. But passage of Initiative 594 showed the country, unfortunately, that billionaires who don't like the Second Amendment can buy an election. And it has given some momentum to the gun control movement in other states. They've already got a similar measure that they're collecting signatures for, or have collected signatures for down in Nevada, that they're going to try to push just the same as they pushed in Washington. And money is a brand new weapon that the anti-gunners use, and they've got a boatload of it.
So what to use another metaphor, really the gun control movement, the gun ban movement was going nowhere. It was becalmed. It was sitting out on the sea and going nowhere. And 594 put fresh wind into its sails, and they're picking up steam now, picking up speed.
Yeah, that's correct. And it may be short-lived steam. The Second Amendment Foundation just the other day, I think it was on the 30th, they filed a lawsuit in federal district court challenging sections of 594 on federal grounds. I've read the complaint 2 or 3 times, there's some pretty solid language, and there's some very good arguments, I think. And this may have a chance to derail at least part of it, and by derailing part of it, you may let all the wind out of the sails of 594, and maybe derail their movement toward pushing citizens' initiatives and buying elections in other states. We'll have to see how that shakes out.
If I may, Dave, let me jump in, because one of the things, we haven't said it either today or in the past, but the thing that you are thinking, and I'm thinking, that everybody involved with this closely is thinking, the thing that worries us, frankly, is that in a battle for just pure dollars, we don't have them. And I don't care if it's the NRA or who it is, we don't have Bloomberg money or Paul Allen money or Bill Gates money or that kind of money. They can reach into their pocket and find some loose change, and they can outspend us for the next 10 years.
Yeah, that's right. And unfortunately, and this is probably going to get a lot of people upset with me and maybe you for letting me say it, but our people, our gun rights activists, a lot of them sat this election out in Washington State. I don't know. We had just barely over 50% of the registered voters return a ballot in this state. Now, that tells me that a lot of the people who didn't return ballots were gun owners. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, there were some gun owners who actually voted for 594, thinking that, it's not going to be so bad, a little background check here. I think we got to keep track of everybody who transfers a firearm. Pick an argument, and it was out there. But for the firearms community, the fraternity, whatever you want to call us, a lot of our own people failed because they were just too damn lazy to vote. And you and I have known each other for, God, I don't know, a long, long time. And and I know this about you too, we're both adamant that if you don't vote, you don't have a right, you don't have any reason at all to complain about the results.
Sure. And if you don't vote, then STFU. There you go.
Well, there you go, yeah. And it's an unfortunate reality today. I think that because the initiative was really, if you do kind of a head count of the voters, I-594 passed really by about 30% of the voting public in Washington State. If every gun owner in this state, and there's more than 1 million of them, if they had turned out and voted against 594, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
And I just want to make sure people understand, this is coming to a state that you live in, not near you, a state that you live in, because that's the plan. They said, look, we can't get it through Congress, but by golly, we figured it out. We can get it through the states by just going in and literally buying up all the airtime. And, you can sell anything if you buy enough advertising. We watch people sell soap and sell, products that we know are not even good for us, and they're able to sell them. Bring us up to speed. What's going on right now? Because I know there are, I will not comply movements and other things going on. So what's going on in Washington State right now relative to 594?
Well, there was a demonstration back on the 13th of December. It was on a Saturday. And fortunately for them, the weather actually did kind of cooperate. It was overcast skies, but they weren't in a downpour, which, that's for Washington State, that's typical weather this kind of year. They also had a gun show that had been scheduled for almost a year in advance that was competing to draw the crowds. I was at the gun show. Frankly, there were more people at the gun show, about 3,000 people. A lot of them had questions about 594. I was kind of obligated to be there to try to answer their questions as best as I could. At that time, I knew there was a lawsuit coming. I couldn't say anything, and that's right. You don't telegraph your punches to the opposition. But I, as best as I could, I answered their questions. There were anywhere from 1,500 to an estimated 1,800 to 2,000 people down at the rally. The rally was an I will not comply rally. I had people down there who told me that several individuals swap guns back and forth, which is, by definition, a transfer under I-594. But here's the kicker, and this really is going to be, I think, maybe the Achilles heel of the lawsuit for the other side. Mm-hmm. The Washington State Patrol knew in advance that these transfers were going to take place. They refused, they declined to hand citations out because they said in public, hey, we don't know if that's a transfer or not. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife had gotten some legal counsel from their guy in the Attorney General's office about transfers of firearms during hunter education classes, and they sent out at least 2 different directives that I know of to their hunter ed instructors. Very complicated. Some of the instructors told me privately they really didn't understand what the agency was saying about handling of firearms in classes and on the range. So we've got confusing regulation now in law in Washington State that not even state agencies know how to enforce.
Okay, Dave, let me jump in because we got about a minute left. As we look down the road in all the other states, what do you see coming?
Well, I think Maine, Arizona, and Oregon are next on the list for these citizen initiative type campaigns, and Bloomberg's got a ton of loot that I know he's willing to spend on this. I think also in some states we're going to have to be careful that there will be attempts to limit magazine capacity. In Virginia, they want the governor down there wants to have a 1 gun a month thing again. He wants to revive that. So, the battle is hardly over, and gun rights activists, people who believe in the Second Amendment, are going to have to get off the bench and get in the game, and that means they're going to have to vote, and they're going to have to understand what it is they're voting for.
Yep, exactly. Dave, listen, thank you, and I will see you in about 2 weeks at the SHOT Show. We can pick this up, and we're going to keep talking about this because I think this is what we're facing from this point on. Dave Workman, thank you again. This guy knows his stuff. By the way, you can read Dave at theexaminer.com, and he's the Seattle Gun Rights Examiner. Also, look for him on the Gun Mag, which is a really good magazine you ought to be able to pick up. 866-TALK-GUN. What's your take? Does this make you want to get involved?
One of Talker Magazine's 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. You're listening to Gun Talk, heard every week at this time on great radio stations across America. Stay tuned. Gun Talk is coming right back. Covering all aspects of gun ownership every week on this fine radio station. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All right, here's the question for you. As you look into 2015, you're looking down the road. You've been hearing people talk about attacks on our gun rights. You're hearing stories about violations of gun safety rules, of accidents. What does it prompt you to do or to want to do? Some change in the way that you handle guns, store your guns, get involved, get more training, become involved in gun rights? We were talking about money a minute ago. I was just running some numbers, just playing with them here. State firearms organizations are always underfunded a lot. It's amazing how a little bit of money goes a long way with a state group. And I was saying, what if you skipped, we could do 2 things here. What if you skipped lunch each day? It's part of your you want to lose weight program. And if you're going out for lunch each day, call it, I'm just picking numbers here, call it $5. What if over the course of a month, you could just do that 10 times, skip lunch 10 times, $50 suddenly becomes available. And you gave that to the local state gun rights group. And what if 1,000 of your buddies did the same thing? That's $60,000. And let me tell you, there's not a state group out there that couldn't do a lot with $60,000. Small increments, small efforts add up when you get a lot of people doing them. Line 3, Tim is with us out of Huntsville, Alabama. Hey, Tim, what's this news story you got?
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking the call. I have a question. Maybe you're up on it more than I am. It was my understanding from a friend this weekend told me that the ATF has rescinded their, I guess, legal stance on the SIG-TAC pistol for like a 5.56.
You're talking about the shoulder or the grip they have that they originally said, we don't care if you use this hand grip on an AR pistol. If you put it up to your cheek and shoot it that way, we don't care how you use it. And then there were some stories that said, no, they changed their mind, and now that's going to become a short barrel rifle if you have that. I saw those stories. It is not true. Check with SIG. SIG says, no, that's not what's going on at all. ATF has not changed its mind. I'm not sure where that came from, but it didn't take it long to make the email rounds. So I bet you got it in your email box.
No, I actually got word of mouth from a friend. So that's a good thing because I just built one here this summer.
Oh, okay, good. How you like it?
So I do like it. It's a lot of fun. It's just a fun toy.
Well, it is. It's basically you get an AR-15 pistol and you put this SIG-TAC. Can't remember what it's an arm brace. It's basically what it is. So it's designed so you can shoot the pistol one-handed. Originally, it was designed by a wounded veteran that only had one hand, and the idea was, well, at least I could shoot my AR this way because it doesn't have like a Velcro strap that goes around your wrist?
It does, kind of your forearm.
Around your forearm, yeah, okay. So it allows you to hold the gun. It's just more steady, if probably the way to go. And then some people say, well, what if I took this little bitty short stock and I hold the gun up and put my cheek on that and shoot it as though it's a rifle? Does that violate their law? And ATF said, no, it's just a product. We don't care how you use it. That doesn't change the product. So the word I'm getting at this point is that nothing has changed and it's still perfectly legal.
Yeah, mine has a 7.5-inch barrel.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pistol. It's an AR-15 pistol.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, Tim, look, I appreciate that. And I'm glad you asked because I've gotten that from several people and I forgot to mention it, but now I got it out there. Thank you, sir. Gary's in Salina, Ohio on line 2. Hey, Gary, what's up? Gary in Ohio on 2. How you doing, Gary? Gary went away. Let's try this. Let's try line 4. See if we can get Larry from Arkansas in here. Hey, Larry, how are you?
Very good.
Good. How can we help you?
I'm back to the call you had about 20 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. The man with the nervous wife and a revolver.
Right.
For self-protection.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed real confused himself. Maybe that's why his wife is nervous. He kind of didn't know what kind of gun he had. Then he came up with Model 19.
Mm-hmm.
He said it was an old gun, but they made the Model 19 from 50s up to 70s, I believe.
Of course, old is relative to people. I mean, you and I may say, well, if it's not 100 years old, it's not an old gun. But to other people, they say, well, it's a 20-year-old gun, and that's old. So I understand that's relative.
Did they ever make the Model 19, which was Highway Patrolman named also, in a single action?
No, it's a double-action revolver. You can shoot it single action or double action. You can cock it and shoot it single action, but it's a double-action revolver.
If you've got it in single action, which means the
hammer's cocked
down on the spot, what happens when you pull that trigger on that single action, which he was talking about?
If you cock the hammer, what it does is now the trigger pull is changed. And if you pull the trigger double action on a double-action revolver, generally the weight of the trigger pull is going to be in the 10 to 12-pound range. Once you cock the hammer back and then fire it in single-action mode, then the trigger pull is probably going to be somewhere in the 2 to 3 pound range. And the reason we recommend that you don't cock the hammer of a revolver for self-defense use is if you cock the hammer of the gun and then you're walking around the house and you step on a squeaky toy in the middle of the night and it scares you, or somebody turns the corner and it's your kid and you get startled, and when you startle, you clench your fist and the gun goes off and you didn't mean for it to. If it's a 12-pound trigger, that's unlikely. Basically, it's kind of a combination of things. If you don't know this and you're carrying around a cocked revolver, single action, and you've got it in single action mode, you probably are not well practiced. You probably don't have your finger outside the trigger guard as you're supposed to. There's a whole lot of probablys involved here, but we can kind of just say, look, if you have a revolver for self-defense, don't cock the hammer on it. Use it in single action or double action mode. That's where you have to just pull the trigger, and it'll be a heavier pull, longer pull, but that's the way you should use them, generally speaking. Does that help?
Okay, but back to if you have a single action revolver and the hammer's
this is not a single, no. It's not a single action revolver. A single action revolver is a cowboy revolver. That's where we're falling apart here. A double action revolver can be shot in single action mode, but that does not make it a single action revolver.
I realize that.
Okay.
I'm going back to the guy's concern of his wife with the gun falling out of her purse, whatever she might be carrying in, and it's in hammer down. It's not a double action rifle. What happens?
If it's an old-fashioned single-action revolver, old cowboy style, old, like before Ruger put the transfer bar in and before we had the safety mechanisms in, if the hammer, we're talking old cowboy style revolver, if the hammer is sitting on top of a loaded round, it is entirely possible for the gun to go off. That's why on all single-action revolvers of all the old time, all the cowboys knew this, you loaded only 5 rounds and the hammer rested on an empty chamber. So your 6-shooter was really just a 5-shooter. That's why. And then Ruger came along and introduced the transfer bar on its single-action revolvers and actually offered a retrofit free. If you have one of those old ones, they'll do even to this day, they'll still do the work for you for free. So, that's kind of where we are with that. So, that's just all I have. If it's a single action revolver, it's one type. If it's a double action revolver, it's a different type altogether. Once again, I guess it gets back to training. You got to know what you have, and you have to know how do you handle it. What's the safety mechanism for it? If it's an old single action revolver, you only load 5 and you keep the hammer on an empty chamber. A modern double action revolver, you can load all chambers and you're safe that way. 866-TALK-GUN.
Making news 30 years ago, the modern internet made strides when 5 supercomputers were linked to form a network. It was the same year ArmScore entered the U.S. market. What a coincidence. Why not use the internet to celebrate? Get big online discounts and rebates on the world's #1 selling 1911s from Rock Island Armory and quality ammunition from ArmScore. Get yours at armscore.com/gun talk. ArmScore, USA strong for 30 years.
The Ruger LC9S, a striker-fired version of the award-winning Ruger LC9 pistol, has a short, light, crisp trigger pull for faster, more accurate shooting. It's just slightly larger than the incredibly compact LCP and provides personal protection in a slim, lightweight, concealable handgun. It also fits all existing LC9 accessories, including lasers, holsters, and extended 9-round magazine. The Ruger LC9S, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Hi, I'm Tom Gresham. For more than 40 years, I've been watching an environmental disaster in my backyard, and it actually impacts all sportsmen in America. I'm talking about the massive loss of land on the Louisiana coastline. The U.S. Geological Survey said the swamps and marshes of coastal Louisiana are among the nation's most fragile and valuable wetlands. That land is disappearing. The Mississippi River Delta hosts as many as 10 million ducks and geese every winter. These are birds which migrate northward through the states, all the way to Canada. The wetlands of the Delta support some of America's best fresh and saltwater fishing. And here's the deal. The wetlands of the Mississippi River Delta are disappearing at a rate of 1 football field every hour. 1 football field every hour. Gone. We can reconnect the river with its wetlands and restore the Delta, but we need your help. Please visit vanishingparadise.org. That's vanishingparadise.org.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
right, back with the 866 Talk Gun. Get you in here. You can also shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com. Over on Twitter, I'm at @guntalk. A lot of folks follow me over there because you know what? It actually becomes, it's a news feed. What I do with my Twitter account, I don't tell you what I had for breakfast. It's a series of links to stories that I'm reading, whether it's a home invasion story or a self-defense story or a gun rights story or something like that. And as you read them and you click on the links and you start reading this, you become better informed. You become better able to make your point if you're debating or if you're writing a letter to the editor or making a comment to somebody. You have facts behind you. You have research. You have reference material. You can bookmark this stuff and hold on to it. I would suggest that if you want to become better informed, this is a very easy way to do it. By the way, and speaking of becoming better informed, one of the things I would offer to you, a thought, as you look toward 2015, if you have a gun for self-protection, and probably everybody listening does, make a commitment to get better trained. I don't care what your level of training is. It may be none, or maybe a lot. Make a commitment to renew your training, to step it up, training being real instruction, going to take a class. Until you can get to that class, may I suggest that you get serious about reading or looking at videos. We have a zillion videos on our YouTube website, Gun Talk Media. You go there. We have our great DVDs. I think they're great. And the First Person Defender Season 1 is out now. If you go to shopguntalk.com, you can get those. If you're looking for a book, let's see, hold on a second here. Where's this book? Oh, there it is. All right, I'm back. There it is. Deadly Force by Massad Ayoob, Understanding Your Right to Self-Defense. If you have a gun for self-defense, let me just put it this way. You need this book. It's that good. It's called Deadly Force, Understanding Your Right to Self-Defense by Massad Ayoob. Brand new, just out. I just think everybody ought to read this. It can keep you out of trouble. A friend of mine calls me a week ago. Says, do you know the name of a good criminal defense attorney in X city? Ruh-roh. Fellow that he knows shot and killed one guy, shot another guy. Two guys come in to rob the place, left, gun store. Then they come back later on in the evening and come back and rob it again. And so the owner goes out there to find out what's going on. Alarm's going off again. Well, they don't know he's a concealed carry instructor and a competitive shooter. They try to shoot him, pull a gun on him. They try to run over him. It did not work well for them. He shot and killed one of them, shot and injured the other one, who was then later recovered in the stolen truck with the stolen guns. Good shoot. Sounds like a good shoot. But it made me think again about the need for good self-defense training, shooting training, legal training. You know, honestly, here's the deal. I mean, I guess this is how I would put it. If you have a gun for self-defense, you need to make this a second job. This is a serious endeavor. Every week you should do something. Read a book, read a story, watch a video. Every week you should do something that makes you better, that informs you, that educates you. Pick your sources carefully. A lot of the internet stuff is junk. A lot of the internet how-to tactical super-duper videos are garbage, awful. Just because a guy wears a beard and puts on cool glasses does not mean he is an operator or he knows what the heck he's talking about. Some of them are just terrible. And if you look at them, you say, well, that doesn't make sense. It probably doesn't make sense. Choose your experts carefully. We do. That's why we have really good people doing our videos. ShopGunTalk.com. What do you think? Are you ready to make a commitment? Are you ready to take a class? Are you ready to just say, you know what, I'm just going to take more people shooting. If you want to do something for gun rights, take more people to the range. That by itself does a lot. 866-TALK-GUN. What's your commitment for this year?
Gun Talk stands for safety, personal responsibility, and common courtesy. To be a part of the show, call 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Gun Talk will be right back.
All right, let's go straight to the phones. Line 3, Carl's with us in Atlanta, Texas. Voting age. Carl, what you talking about here?
Yeah. Starting this year, 16 and 17-year-olds can register to vote in Louisiana. Hey, Tom, what in the round world is the Louisiana legislature thinking about in that state you're in?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I've heard nothing about this. Are you sure?
Yeah, that's what I heard. It was actually, I heard it a couple of different spots on the news. They were talking about it was on New Year's. They were talking about new regulations starting this year, and I heard that in Louisiana, 16 and 17-year-olds can register to vote.
I don't think so.
Well, I hope not, but that's what I heard. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting here in Louisiana now. Would not be the first time that big news has gone right past me, but I don't think so. I mean, somebody's going to have to fill me in because I'm looking. I did a little quick search before we went on here, and I've seen nothing like that. Now, the 26th Amendment says 18 is the number. 18 is the age. So I don't know. I don't know where that's coming from. I guess what I'm saying is I don't think it's true, but I'm going to go do some checking on it, Carl, because there's no point in me weighing in on what it means or what it is, because if it's not actually true. But look, I appreciate the heads up, and I'll see what I can find out about it. I appreciate the call, sir. Mike's in Dodge City, Kansas, line 4. Hey, Mike, you got some follow-up on this Austin police chief?
Yes, I sure do. I was listening to an AM talk radio, and it was a conservative talk host, and he grilled him for 9, 10, 11 minutes, and the guy is very pro-Second Amendment, and he did say what he said. He's not a politician that's, backing out. I didn't say it. Mm-hmm. But he said it came out wrong to what he meant for it to be. So, what he meant was like, you're right there, and there was somebody in your family friend that's walking out the door with a gun type of deal. It sounded like to me.
Okay, yeah, what we're talking about was, let me fill in for folks who didn't hear that, Mike. Let me help them out. There was a report of the police chief in Austin, Texas, saying that if you know somebody that's got a lot of guns and has hate, you should call us and we should vet them. Basically check them out because they have hate, or they're hating, and they have a lot of guns. So what you're saying is that, in essence, he was speaking, how do we put it, inelegantly, and that's not exactly what he meant?
Right. He thought that he was pro-gun enough. He felt that he could handle the liberal news media with the questions and come out with the right answer. And as we've seen on many occasions, politicians, whatever, that make a statement and it is taken out of context to where it really makes it sound worse than what it was. But after listening to the man for several minutes there, the man was definitely pro-Second Amendment. He admits that he did make that statement, and it is taken the way that they wanted it to go.
Okay, well, look, I appreciate the follow-up because I was just working off of the news story that I had, so that's actually very good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. And your point is well made, and thank you for the call. A lot of times, particularly if you're not a professional politician, you really don't understand how your words are going to get torn up and twisted around, so just food for thought. By the way, a quick safety piece of information. We were out at the range, had a couple of different ARs, one in .223, one in .300 blackout. Managed to stick the magazine with the .300 blackout ammo into the .223 and close the bolt. Fortunately, it wouldn't close all the way, didn't go off. That would have been ugly. Found a cool website, FaxonFirearms.com, F-A-X-O-N, firearms.com. They've got little elastic bands, kind of like the Lance Armstrong bands. They go around the magazines, and they're marked 7.62 by 39 or 5.56 or .300 blackout, and they're color-coded. If you've got different caliber ARs, you can put these around your mags so that you don't end up getting swapped out and possibly make a mistake. I like that. Yes, it's a training issue, but I'll take any help I can get on something like this. 866-TALK-GUN. What are your plans for 2015? Going to be buying any guns?
No black helicopters here, just the facts about gun rights and gun ownership. This is Gun Talk.